Hey guys, so I kind of put the motors to the side for now. Play with those, kind of get an idea what they do and don't do, and kind of moved on to. I figured I'd start building some components, and with those components, our majority is that around the wheels, how the wheels are going to be powered, what they're going to be on there, what are they going to look like, and all that kind of stuff. So I was digging out the hoard of old style bike stuff that I have, and started cutting them up and doing some different things to them and trying some different things. And like the one you see here, it's two rims welded together. And what I did was I let it have two tubes inside it, and one tube's got a slow leak in it, but the overall effect, I was trying to make it so that it looked more like a period correct motorcycle tire with having a wider width to it. So when the other side's inflated, it looks pretty decent. You know, it makes it probably about a 3-inch wide tire instead of a 1 3/4 inch that the one rim is by itself. So having done that, I was playing with some other ideas, and I'll show you those in a second. These are, again, 26-inch wheels, but they are heavy rims. These are like a utility cart kind of thing. And I took another 26-inch rim flat and I sliced one side of it off. I want to see if I can go and weld maybe that together and make a fatter rim, just like what we talked about and showed there. And you can see the hub is thicker on that one, and that could be the front wheel. And this is some ideas I'm playing with for front brakes. I think they call it hillbilly handbrake, which I would use a rope around another pulley on the front wheel and tug on that to work as a front brake. But I may go with leather and a pair of pliers mounted to the frame that you run a cable through. It squeezes it and turns it on and off. Who knows? Just thoughts right now, but some of the stuff I'm kicking around. With that wheel, let me go find them. The one issue is bearings. The bearings that are in those wheels are not meant to go very high speed. They are roller bearings, but they're kind of a chintzy roller bearing. So I tapped one of those out of there and put a different bearing in it. And with that, I had some better ones that fit in there, but I was trying to figure out how to lock them in, so I was actually trying to cut a groove in it. Didn't think I would have very much success, and I didn't, because I want to put like a snap ring on it to lock it into place. So I'm going to either try to find a bearing that already has a groove cut in it, or I may take a cut-off wheel and with the lathe running, try carving a little groove inside that so that it has, with the snap ring on it, some sort of shoulder to keep it from going too far. And then I'll put a post in between it so when you tighten down on the front end, it doesn't crush the bearings. And there's the other one. Here's the one that's a regular roller bearing in there. So you can see if I put a ring around that, it'll fit the hub fairly correctly. And these are fairly decent heavy rims. The only thing is they don't have spoke adjustments on them. They're just kind of fixed. But they're heavy, so as long as I keep it straight and it doesn't get all distorted, it really shouldn't be an issue. And you don't know until you try. So in building bikes, the reason why I'm doing the front rim is because I didn't have anything really worth a damn to build a back rim out of. This rim being a skip tooth one. I tried figuring out if I can get the sprocket to kick out further, and it's not really a good candidate for that. It's kind of fixed to this hub. But the earlier style, you can pull a snap ring off of it, and the sprocket will come right off, so I can actually weld it to another sprocket and shim it out or do whatever I need to have the chain clear the tire. You know what I mean? And that's even if I go on that side. So I went on Craigslist last night. I was trying to find rims that did not have that kind of curve. You see how that's like angled, and angled? It's not flat. It's only flat where the spokes are, but it's only about 3/4 of an inch wide. But I wanted to get rims that are more suitable to modifying. And so you see there, I got flats on that one, and then that one. So that bike was $65. That bike was $40. I was trying to find cheaper stuff. but I was starting to waste my time going to the salvage yard and all, not really finding what I needed and what was my time and gas worth. So I just went and I chased these two down this morning, and this one's got a fairly nice looking saddle on it. Although it's a girl saddle, it's more round, but it is a nice early saddle. I don't think it's Brooks, but it's got a good base to start with. And I may or may not work with those frames. I don't know. I haven't got to that point. So again, I'm just going to work with building my wheels. They're kind of tried and true from what I've built on the other ones. So I kind of know what I want to go for. Again, this step just trying to make them look a little wider than a bicycle wheel, more like a motorcycle wheel. I also like the fenders that are on this one too. They're very fat. So if I go with fenders on it, they will be a good addition for them. You can see like these are skinnier. That's probably like a mid-80s Sears knockoff, while this one is a where that torpedo is, I don't know. And yeah, it's like an 80s or a 90s Huffy. Both girls' bikes just do not have any value to them, so they will when I'm done. Alright, so this is what I'm thinking. This is the other rim that was sitting up here before that I cut the top off, but I'm using one of the bicycle rear rims, and we're going to try and see if I can make this guy just a fatter rim. And at first I was going to slice off this inner lip, kind of weld them together and just make one large valley, but I'm thinking that I might be just better off leaving that well enough alone and taking and just putting 2 tubes in it. Leave the 2 valve stems there and leave 2 tubes in it, and it'll kind of fill the void. And actually what I noticed on the other bike is, according to which one you fill, it kind of shifts the tire from left to right evenly. So if I need to tweak it a little bit, I still can. And it gives more strength to the rim if I have 3 ribs inside there instead of 2. My only thing would be whether it gets pinched, if there's any kind of sharp edges, but I think if we just put 2 of those liners in it, the liners, that's a tube, it's not a liner. You know what I'm talking about, right? There it is. So if I just run 2 of the liners, I think would be okay, but don't know till you try. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to jig this thing up so that it stays even kind of this way, you know, because you can push down on it any way you want. And make it so it's consistent. It doesn't look too bad when you spin it. In the process, I'm gonna set up a jack stand, come up, and I'm gonna have a bar come alongside of it and just make sure I'm you know, good this way. And I may take it and then move it to the top and use that for my guide, but I don't know until I get there. Alright, got a bunch of tacks on there. I ended up just kind of spinning it and letting it be free. Tried to center it the best I can in the free capacity, and then I think I took where it was the lowest first and I kind of pinched it down there, and then I try to come around 180 degrees and grab the next side. And I won't lie, I probably cut the tacks loose about 4 or 5 places afterwards, and I just kept wherever it was kind of high, I would come with the channel pliers from behind it. I would kind of grab it, cut the weld loose, kind of squeeze down on it and tack it. And I just kind of kept doing that, chasing it around, and it's not perfect, but it's not. I'll let that piece of tape screw you up. Hold on. It's moving up and down about get the tape off of there. About a 16th. And probably the same is true about that way. So that's close enough. Now I'm going to go back and give a bunch more welds in there, and we'll see how that makes out after I'm done, see if it distorts on me or not. A little hard getting in there because then the nozzle's the width of that gap. Get in there, but it's not bestest. And I don't want to put any welds on the outside because I just don't want you to be able to see all that goobery part of it. But let me get all that buzz together and we'll try it one more time. And then we'll throw the tire on it, some tubes on it, and we'll fill it up and see what it looks like. Alright, so I went over and I have welds every 2 inches or so. That should be good enough to hold it. And then I went over it with a flap disc just to kind of knock down anything that was high on there that may pinch a tube. You pinch a tube anyway, but if I like what it is, I'm probably going to take some seam sealer. I'll probably just run it right around this corner inside here and cover that up, or we'll take a piece of rope or something along that nature. We'll just kind of blend in that cavity because the tube's going to want to try to tuck down inside there. But I think it's good enough for us to put the tire on it, put 2 tubes in there, we'll throw some air in it, and we'll compare a same size tire to like a before and after, and we'll see how much more like a motorcycle wheel looks like. Actually, I think that rubber seal will kind of take care of that, because that rim, that part of it's so much skinnier, it wants to kind of curl up on that side and fill that void in. So most of the welds all look kind of hidden. There's one poking through here and there a little bit, but again, I probably still can hit that with seam sealer. Yep, that one's off though. We'll fix that. Alright, let me go see if I can find myself another good bike tube, and I'll put 2 tubes on here and 1 tire. Alright, that's what we got. Should physically measure it. But it just is more of a, probably the white wall kind of throws it off too. It was all one color maybe, but it just looks like much more of a fatter, more of a correct bike tire to me than the skinniness of that, you know. I could probably even go a little fatter. Probably leave both rings together, but I don't know if I want to leave that then it'll have more of like a gap in the middle, because they have a taper to them right there. So if I did that, the middle will probably have like a 1/4 inch gap going around it. Not bad, I like it. You do both of them like that, just kind of gives it a little bit closer to the look of the bike wheel compared to that, you know. Especially on the ones that are have that taper to them. And you compare that to that. Stick it in the bike, see what it looks like when we spin it. Guy's getting dizzy. Should you hang for 1 sec? Let's go put that sucker in the vise. Let's see what it looks like. Not too bad. Now we got to build off of that. We got to build the drive sheave that comes off of that with a 24-inch rim right here. So I got to get a more flat rim. I get another flat rim for that part of it. And a little surprise for that too, for how we're going to attach the two of them together. Anyway, I didn't film it, but I ended up, I had this bearing still chucked up in the lathe, and of course I tried cutting into it, and it's hardened steel, and that wasn't going to happen. But I did take the, left it in there, and went over with the cutting wheel, and just rested that up on there, and cut a groove in there. And then got a snap ring to fit over the top of it, so essentially I'm just kind of mimicking what the bearing that was in there, with just a better quality bearing that'll hold up much better. So I'm going to do that again to the other side, and that'll be our, okay, I could probably tap them in, and that'll be the bearings for the front wheel, and we don't have to worry about them being able to ride at 30 miles an hour with this thing was just meant to be pushed around a yard on a yard cart. So let me get the other one done, and let's go play with that wheel a little bit. And Halloween's coming. Here's what I cut off that rim. We can make that the like death hula hoop. That around you a little bit. I didn't catch the first one, but I can catch the second one. So basically, we're just going to shove a grinder, and we're going to eyeball it. Need more than that. That's pretty good. I don't want to go too far. I want to cut to the inside. We'll grab the snap ring, pop that on there, see how that feels. And what do I do with the pliers? Yep, that's what I do with the pliers. Damn it. Might go a hair more. I'll leave it alone for now. Looks pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see. It's dark. It's dark. You're not going to see nothing. Just don't know how much meat I have before I start cutting into the inner part of the case. You know what I mean? So I don't want to push my luck. If I find one or more of these bearings, maybe I'll make a sacrificial lamb and I'll cut in. I'll see how far it takes before I cut through. But that should hold us. Just this is going to be that'll be stationary with the wheel. It'll always be staying with the wheel, and I'll make a spacer between the two of them inside the wheel so that the inner race just gets pressed together and there's no pressure on these. It's not like I'm going to crank down on the whole bearing. This is just a stop and keep it from going in the wheel too far. Is that too much information? You'll see. Alright, so I popped those 2 bearings in there, and I didn't quite tap them in all the way. I don't have a spacer made up. I went looking for a piece of pipe. Basically, you got the bearing and the 2 IDs of it. You want a piece of pipe in there so that when you crush in on the sides, it's just pushing on those races and not pushing on the bearing part of it. But I'll worry about that later. Seems like it spins fine. Should be a fairly strong wheel. The tire's wobbling around, but the rim is nice and straight. So what I think I might do now is try setting it on its side and see if we can get that that metal ring, which is actually a it's a rim from a baby carriage. So I just took those wheels, the little one in the front, and took the tire off of it. And that'll be what my inner rim is. And actually, it's fairly heavy metal too. Decent thickness to it. So I'm going to sand down one side of that so they have something to weld to, and we'll flip that thing up on its side and see if I can get this center and get it tacked on there. And again, so I got my little stand made up, and it's probably within 1/16, something like that. Should be close enough. Now I got to figure out how to lock it down without it moving, because once I clamp it, it's going to want to walk on me. So I got to get 2 tacks on it where it's decent. What I might do is I might just go around with a Sharpie and touch on the outer spokes, and I can kind of use that for my guide. Probably my best bet. And then kind of maybe come in with little vice grips and try clamping it. My only issue is once I have that stuff hanging here, it's hard to kind of go probe it and make sure it's centered. But we'll figure out something. So that's kind of what I did. I took a magic marker before I moved it at all and just kind of touched on the back side so I had a good home base for it. And I just started clamping down. And yeah, I got it pretty good. And then what I did is I just kind of stood still and looked at the air conditioner in the back, and I looked at one of the vanes, and I kind of tried to watch that top ridge, and I wanted to see if it was moving like this or up and down. Alright, so I put those like 5 or 6 vice grips on there, and pretty much like every other spoke, every third spoke, and I went wherever the vice grips were, I gave them a tack, and then I rotated them all one location, gave them a tack, and then kind of went all the way around so they're all kind of buzzed on there. So ain't perfect, but it's good enough. Again, I could probably take it and tweak it a little bit if I have to. But you gotta remember, it's just gonna be a piece of leather, kind of loosely hanging around that, and I'm gonna pull up on it and let it kind of tighten around it for a break. That's pretty good. But I think that's all I have for today. I don't think I have a rim I can cut up. And those are pretty good, so I don't want to kill those 2 rims or those 2 rims yet, you know, those front rims. But I'll look around, I'll see if I have anything else. I don't think I have a flat one left. So I'll go back to the scrapyard tomorrow, and I'll get another one, and we'll cut the end off like we did on that one, and we'll make that rim fatter like this one also. Yeah. Alright guys, I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing. Take care. Alright, so I put like those yeah.